Hey guys, I'm Jan from Functional Body Unit. In today's video we'll cover common mistakes with overhead exercises and how to fix them with mobility training. So enjoy it.
So the first common mistake we see happening is right in the warm-up. So people start foam rolling, thinking, oh yeah, this feels good, this opens up and really releases tension in my body and my muscles and will get me going for my overhead pressing or any other kind of activity. But this is actually not the case. It's not going to help you open up more range of motion, gonna release tension to get better in your training or to warm you up for your training. Same applies for stretching. People start stretching out, trying to open up their shoulder just like this, thinking, oh yeah, now I'm pumped, now I'm hyped for my training. No, it's not the case. This can actually be really dangerous for your training because you're stretching to a range of motion that you have no control whatsoever in. And then you start stretching out, getting into a deeper range of motion, and then when you're doing overhead pressing stuff, this can lead to injury because then you kind of trick your nervous system with foam rolling, with PNF stretching into something that you have no control in, and we want to avoid that by doing mobility training separately from our strength training to get control in, to get the strength, to get the range of motion, to get into this kind of overhead pressing training. We're going to show you how to do this, how to incorporate your mobility after going through all the common mistakes. So now we're going to go through an overhead press and the common mistakes we see. So he's going to demonstrate it. It's just going to show us his overhead press and we'll see what we can fix about it. So what do you see? I see an overly arched lower back. So now I'm gonna give him the cue. Go and take your pelvis in, suck your belly button into your spine, tuck the pelvis under and go for a posterior pelvic tilt. Now go for another rep. You see that? This is his shoulder flexion. So now we know why he went and got his arched back, why he arched his back. So he arched his back in order to get into that shoulder flexion, which he truly doesn't have. So when I ask him to do it correctly with the pelvis tucked under, shoulder flexion is right here. What does this tell us? It tells us he shouldn't be doing overhead pressing because shoulder flexion is lacking that angle that you need for overhead pressing. So what you see with people who lack it is mainly in the low back, the TL junction. So many things happening here. This can be really dangerous. You can really get some serious injury in your back when doing this. And your shoulder is not gonna take it well for a long time. So what do we recommend? Work on your shoulder flexion. Take this exercise out of your training program and go for incline bench press. Take a machine where you press forward and up, which allows you to use your shoulder as well as the mainly presser, but it's not going to ask you to press all the way vertically. Instead, it's going to ask you to press forward and up. So this is what we suggest you to do until you reach that point where you can say, okay, now I have the flexibility, the mobility to press overhead.
So now that we found our mistakes or shown you the mistakes, the common mistakes while doing overhead stuff, overhead pressing or even handstands, let's show you how to solve the problem with mobility training, with true mobility training. So first, what is important for flexion, shoulder flexion? It's obviously external rotation. If you can't get your shoulder in a 90-degree angle here with your elbow to the side of you, then you probably have to work also on your shoulder external rotation. So that's a prerequisite also for overhead stuff. So what we're going to show you, the first exercise, the first mobility exercise is going to be external rotation, pails and rails for your shoulder. Okay, so we're going to do that in a prone position. So she's in a prone position here, and we're going to have that yoga block. So she elevates her wrist on the yoga block and she should really feel a stretch right here. For the external rotation pails and rails, we want to go into our end range of motion. So if she is able to lift off from this yoga block without compensating through her wrist, you saw her a little bit of tweaking her wrist into flexion like that. If she's not able to lift off from that yoga block, she is in her passive end range. So what that's going to tell us, she's right there where we want her to stretch it out and do some isometric strengthening to relearn the movement pattern to get better at external rotation with that pails contraction and with that rails contraction. Okay, so for this one, we're gonna stretch it out for 2 minutes. So really find your stretch right here and right here in your shoulder. And after the 2 minutes, we want to ramp up our pails contraction. So slowly push your wrist as hard as you can into the block, but slowly ramp up till you reach your maximum effort. Push it in for 15 seconds. After the pails, immediately start the rails contraction, trying to lift off your wrist from the block. So really engaging that regressive tissue here. It won't actually happen because it's her passive end range. That's what we tested previously. And now she's engaging this for 15 seconds. After this whole set, she's gonna repeat that for another set. So one side is around 4 minutes and it's really strengthening her end ranges and is increasing her mobility for external rotation. So the last exercise we're gonna show you is for shoulder flexion. We're gonna show you some shoulder flexion passive range holds with the stick in a child's pose, and it's a partner exercise. We're gonna demonstrate you this as a partner exercise. So she's gonna sit in her child's pose. Really take care that you're sitting on your heels and not elevating through your lumbar spine, or your pelvic is going up as you go into more shoulder flexion. So really press your bum down on your heels and really engage your core. So I'm gonna take her into her passive end range now. So I want to test this. If I let go of my hand, she should be able to stay exactly at this height. So I'm letting go of my hand, boom, she's staying there, perfect. So I want to give it a little bit more. Right here, she's engaging all this tissue here. Let go, she's able to hold that. But with a little bit of wrist flexion, you see. So reset, take a deep breath. We're gonna do that again as a partner exercise. So really challenging and really teasing your partner here, okay? So back into passive end range and wrist straight, engage your core, and I'm let go. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, reset. Really make sure your elbows are completely straight here. Again, engage and radiate your core and lift off. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and down. You saw she noticed that her wrists were going into flexion, but that's okay. Just fight for more. To hold that flexion here. You're really strengthening the range of motion with that passive range hold we showed you. So for the passive range holds we showed you, we recommend just doing 3 to 4 sets with 6 reps and around 5 seconds isometric hold. So as I let go of my hand, I'm gonna count down 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and that's 1 rep. Gonna do that for 3 to 4 sets, and it's totally destroys your shoulder at your end ranges.
If you like this video, then leave a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel to stay updated on mobility, calisthenics and strength tutorials. But obviously this isn't the whole story to mobility training. It's not the whole story on how to gain more overhead mobility and flexion. So if you want even more information on that, then visit our website. The link is in the description below. Look at our online Kinstretch or mobility coaching. This will give you in-depth knowledge on your body, on any kind of mobility you're lacking. And I'll see you guys in the next video.